20,000 parts.
Kicked off already.
No. We lost Larry already. Not in front of me, okay? There's a little bit of noise in here today. Sorry about that.
Technology needs some
yeah,
work.
we lost Larry. So today we're going to be talking about patents. And Larry has some experience with his previous company with patents. And now we have some new patents that we're working with. So do you want to start with talking about your previous patent experience?
Can you say that again? I didn't hear what you said.
Do you want to start off by talking about your past experience with patents, and then we'll talk about what we're currently doing?
Sure. Okay, well, I guess I'll talk about the first patent first. Back in 1987, I applied for my first patent, and in those days, I didn't even know what a patent agent was. I don't even remember hearing anybody say the term, so I had to go to a patent attorney, and that all was kind of a new interesting experience because I'd never dealt with attorneys before. However, when I did realize that I had some technology that would require well, it turned out it was intellectual property. When I made that discovery, the first thing I had to do was go to a law firm. I remember going to a law firm and getting something called a statutory declaration done up. And I don't even know if you have to do that anymore because things change over time, and patenting, the process of filing a patent doesn't really change a lot. However, the getting the patent issued and getting to the state of patent pending is pretty much the same. It hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot. So, as I was saying with my first patent, I got some government money to file a patent and went to a patent attorney, and he was very meticulous with what he was doing, and I kind of considered it. He kind of made me do a lot of work. I remember to apply for the patent because I wasn't a draftsman. I had to get somebody to do the drawings for the patent and to actually have a general explanation. So I went to my buddy John, who had been through a metallurgy school, and he had learned quite a bit about doing drafting and drawing and stuff. So I explained to him what I needed. He whipped up some drawings for me, and then I took him to the patent attorney. So, and then from that point on, it just became a matter of the patent attorney asking me all these questions about what it was that I was doing, how I did it, what steps were involved, and what he felt were the most important aspects of it. And there was quite a few different important aspects of it, and so over, I think it took about 3 months for him to actually put together the patent application. And so after that, it was a kind of a waiting thing. So he took a lot of money, and eventually the patent was issued, and we reached the point of patent pending. Oh, looks like I might have disappeared again. Are you still there? There, I'm
Oh, I'm
back.
back. Me too.
Let's just continue on from what I was saying.
Yeah.
The after the patent, attorney had everything in his possession. He applied, and we had patent issued in, I think it was 1992, and the process began in 1989. The patent process, so it took a long time. Anyways, and that gives you, once you file for a patent, it gives you 19 years to create a monopoly using your intellectual property. A lot of people don't know that, but something that's important in any disruptive technology, if you have some intellectual property or any kind of information that you can protect, super important. There's nothing more powerful than information that you can actually protect. So patents are probably one of the most important things there are in a business as far as your product goes. Then your marketing can be done whatever anybody dreams up. But having a patent and protecting your ideas is really important. So today, when it comes to protecting your technology, we used something called a patent agent, which I wasn't really able to find back 20 years ago. Oh yeah, getting back to what I was saying, that 19-year period gives you 19 years just to go nuts and make as much money as you want using your patent, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. They can, what it gives you, what the patent provides you with, is protection so that nobody can copy your idea and produce it somewhere and make money off it. I've heard from a lot of people that don't have intellectual property and like to think they know quite a bit about the subject. They've told me, well, a patent's no good in China, or China doesn't honor patents, and if somebody just changes your idea slightly, they can steal your patent. I hear the word steal your patent quite a bit, and so that's not really, I don't think that's really true myself. Having a patent for 20 years, what I experienced in the business that I had or was involved in that still uses the technology is that people can sue you or try to sue you and say, well, we're doing something that is exactly what you're doing, and we're suing you. And that happened in the company that I was working for, and that was using the technology I invented. And at the end of it all, it was a matter of lawyers talking to lawyers, and what happened was everything got settled out of court. And the reason it didn't go to court is because we did have the patent in North America, and there was nothing this company could do, because although they might have been doing something similar to what we were doing, we were the first to file the patent, and so it was protected, and that was very important as well. So especially, and when you talk about disruptive technology, more than likely you're talking about some kind of intellectual property, because in order for something to be disruptive, it's going to be different, and people have probably never heard of it before, and it's never been done before. So, and getting back to what I was saying about patents, is nowadays we use something called a patent agent, and it seems to be much easier to go with a patent agent because they do a lot more work, and it's a lot less technical and less stressful. I can remember when I was speaking to a patent attorney, I always had butterflies, and I never felt comfortable because everything seemed very strict. But with a patent agent, with this, I guess could be just with the patent agent we have now, everything's a lot more relaxed, and I find that if there's new technology or new ideas that I develop or come up with, it's just a matter of a phone call to the patent agent, and we discuss the situation, and I'm not looking at my watch thinking, okay, how long have I been on the phone with this agent, is compared to talking to a patent attorney. Because when I remember talking to the patent attorney, I remember calling the attorney years ago, just with a general question about something to do with patent annual fees. And that conversation was for about 10 or 15 minutes on the phone, and then I got this bill in the mail for $250. I thought, what's this $250 for? I've already filed the patent and paid them all the money. Well, you charged me $250 for a 15-minute phone call, which, come on. That's just bananas for an entrepreneur and an inventor. It just didn't make sense. So with the patent agent, that doesn't seem to be what happens, and if it does, it's not nearly the amount that gets charged by a patent attorney. So today, with working with a patent agent, it's very good to you have to patent your intellectual property, and sometimes it's a strange thing regarding intellectual property, because you can come up with an idea that you know in your gut that nobody's ever tried this before, and it could be because it doesn't exist out there. So when King Sunshine Solar Systems came up with the solar heat collector, it was an original idea right from the get-go, and we looked at things that were similar to it, but as soon as you start adding things to it and changing it, well, there's some stuff here that's got to be protectable. And then, the next thing you know, you're talking to a patent agent, discussing everything that's new to it, and then you start the patent application process. As soon as you discover, when it comes to filing a patent or applying for a patent, the first thing that occurs is, of course, the inventor invents something. The next stage is you can protect it by writing a description and maybe doing a little picture or a drawing of whatever your invention is. You can put it into a registered mail, not just a letter, but have it registered, and then you mail it to yourself. And when you get it, you sign for it, but you don't open the package. You file it away somewhere. I did that with both patents. It was all the patents today. That was the first thing I did. As soon as I made the discovery, this looks new, that's the first step. I went right to the post office. And then that gives you a starting point. I think there might be a way to do it using a computer and videotape. I'm not sure how. There's probably a way today using the internet to do the same thing. But I'm a little old school that way, and the post office needs to make money once in a while. So after that was done with the patent, knowing that I had an idea, mailing it to myself, then I contacted a patent agent, and that's when things get a lot more serious, because the patent agent's responsibility, first and foremost, is to search all the patent offices and try to find, based on your description, the patent agent tries to find something already in existence. And when you have a good patent agent, man, they can really listen. They're really good listeners, and they listen to what you're saying, and they're probably making notes. I've never seen how they work exactly, but they make a lot of notes, and then they send the information off to a patent office and find out whether something can be protected or not. Now, something that happened recently with the between jobs or between things that we were working on, we ended up, howdy, how's it going? we ended up going to the patent agent to get some more information on another project that we started working on in between. Basically, it was in between jobs or development of the solar heat collector. I think we were waiting for parts, and we made a discovery of something else that possibly had could be patented. So what we ended up doing was having a search done on this new application or a new product, and I thought it was a completely original idea that I had come up with. And the patent agent actually, after he got all the information recorded, sent the identical description that I gave him, not so much word for word, but the idea of the technology was sent back to me, and there was already a patent filed in 1982 by another person with pretty much the identical idea. And so that can happen. So when you discovered something that might be unique, that can be protected, that's probably the best route to go, is through the patent agent, because they get things done the fastest. You can also, with any kind of disruptive technology, you can also do some searching on the internet yourself now, because there's a lot of power with the internet being able to find things that already exist. It's a very powerful tool. When I applied for my first patent, the internet didn't even exist. And so it got, that's pretty much how the whole process of protecting your technology goes with a patent. It's a lot of planning and writing down a lot of the details of whatever you come up with for an idea. And so I don't know if that covers. I think that covers pretty much all of a patent when it comes to disruptive technology, how powerful it can be.
So we have finally had a guest join us. I believe it's Tapan, is that right?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Tapan?
Yes.
I can hear you. Hello. You're in India, right?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to look at our website, and do you know what Larry is talking about with his invention? With the solar heat collector?
Okay.
Did you look at the website?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah? Do you have any questions?
No. No.
Okay. Well, we're just talking about patents, so you're welcome to interrupt if you have any questions for us, and just welcome. So it's kind of funny because I don't really have very much to say about patents. Actually, when you got cut off, Larry, I was telling everybody about all of the investment that I've made paying the patent attorney, which I didn't even realize that we have a patent agent that is working for us, not a patent attorney. So that just shows how little I actually know about the patenting process. But for all of you out there that are maybe have technology or an idea, just a second please, that have an idea for something that you think might be eligible for patents, I just want to point out that it's not important as a business owner or an idea person that you be the one that has all the knowledge, because that specialized knowledge about patents is available. And like Larry said, you can go and search on the internet and get a whole bunch of basic information of what you need to know about patenting a new technology. And then once you have that basic information that's readily available now with Google and the internet, then you can talk to patent agents or patent attorneys, depending on what your research comes up with is best work for you. And then you can outsource and hire somebody to take care of the technical details and and handle the specialized knowledge that it takes to put patents in place. So, Larry, can you just kind of describe the kind of patents that we have now and the next step that we'll be taking with our company for the future patenting process, kind of where we're at now and where we're going with that. I know that we're looking at getting some more patents on some of the new ideas that we've come up with, as well as moving forward the patents that we already have in place in North America to other locales.
All right, now King Sunshine Solar Systems has got 2 patents pending. The first one is patented in North America, and that's the solar heat collector. And the latest patent that we've got, or we're applying for, is called a PCT patent. And this is more of an international patent because the technology has probably a larger application globally, and so it's quite unique compared to solar heat collector. And this is stuff that we learned by going to a few different trade shows on how unique a product can be. And so the way the PCT patent works, it's protection for a year and a half. And what the patent agent explained to me how it works is that you pay X amount of dollars for the PCT patent. I think it's 5,000, and then it's protected internationally or globally for the next year and a half. So during that year and a half period, you're allowed to discuss your technology with any country on the planet, and you're protected just the same as you is if you had a non-disclosure agreement in place. So the PCT, in that year and a half of protection, you have to find the countries where your technology is going to be relevant. So if you know what you've been working on for our case, we've been developing solar technology, and so there's a lot of countries that are very much getting into solar, including India. That's coming on a lot stronger than it has in the past. Greece, Germany, European Union pretty much, and China. And unfortunately, North America is still pretty much in its infancy. It's growing. However, I think for the solar power market, with disruptive technology, whether it's solar panels or solar thermal or concentrated cooling, heat, and power, the market's more internationally for that, so countries outside of North America. So that's what we've got right now is the PCT patent in place, which is protection. And with the solar heat collector, it's just actually in the process of being analyzed by the United States Patent Office, because there's some claims that we make that they feel have been made by another company, or another inventor. And after looking at the patent with the patent agent and going over the points that the inventor in the United States says there are similarities, I'm finding there's certain similarities between the two technologies, but I believe our technology has some points to it that are intellectual property. It's like an ongoing thing. You have to have these protective measures in place if you're going into business with a new technology. You have to have that protection. And like I say, it allows you 19 years to create a monopoly using that, patents, having patent pending.
And so after, can you just describe what happens after the 19 years, and then how you can maybe extend that at all, or what exactly occurs?
Well, during that 19-year period, usually that's a long time actually, and so when you come up with your patent day one and it gets issued and published, and you have patent pending, it doesn't take long before you start realizing, well, we could have done this easier when we came up with this idea, and now we can maybe add to our patent. And so the patent attorneys and agents also offer something called patent improvement. And what a patent improvement does, it's essentially improving on the patent that you have. So say, for example, you're 5 years into your protection, your 19 years, you can file an additional bit of information to that technology, which will extend it another 5 years, because it's based on your first patent. So after, if you don't have any improvements to your patent, for my first patent, there was no improvements during the 19-year period. So after 19 years, it becomes public domain. So anybody can have access to the technology. Anybody can use the technology to make products. It becomes public domain. And there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of technologies out there that I could list as examples that had patents, and then the patents eventually expired, and everybody else started making them. There's one that comes to mind right off the top of my head, was the glow stick.
Okay, right on. I don't know if you froze there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So the glow stick, it's now anybody can use it. They made a whole bunch of money with it, and now anybody can go ahead and produce them.
That's right.
Interesting. So I'll just for Tapan's sake and anybody else that maybe didn't see our first hangout that we did, I'll just give a quick update as to where we are with our technology actually outside of patenting. The last test that we did, we have a switch that goes inside where the heat is, and that switch tells the pump to move the fluid, like pump the fluid through. And without that pump pumping the fluid gets so hot that it starts damaging all of the parts. So anyway, the switch that we had, it actually failed. It could not handle the intense heat. So we're just in the process. We found a replacement switch that, according to the manufacturer, will work for this application. And I can't remember. I'll let Larry give the details of what that new switch is going to do. But so as soon as we get this switch from the company in New Jersey, we will be able to do our next test and do another update, hopefully with a video from YouTube that we can both watch. So can you just give a little bit more detail about this new switch that you discovered and why it's going to work where the last switch failed?
The last switch failed. All these switches that we're using now, we used to use a microcontroller with a sensor, and we had problems with the microcontroller. And the manufacturer of the microcontroller, of course, told me there's no such switch that will close or actuate at a certain temperature, like a thermostat. Don't try looking for it. It doesn't exist. And after the device they sold us failed, I said, I'm going to have a look on the online and see if what I think will work actually exists. And guess what? I found it. I found it made by a company down in the United States, the southern states. It's called a snap switch. And the way a snap switch works, they usually install these switches on appliances, for example, so that, say you have a waffle maker or a toaster, and you don't want the toaster to get too hot. Why? Because it'll catch on fire. So you put one of these snap switches into the toaster so that if it gets to a certain temperature, it will either open or close, and then it will no longer heat up. It shuts off. So this switch technology we incorporated in the Kaboomer, and we use it in place of the the temperature controller and sensor that we used to have, we got rid of that, and we switched to just this simple little switch that actually closes when the temperature rises to 200 degrees Celsius. So when this switch closes, it's wired right in directly to the peristaltic pump, which pushes the fluid through the kaboomer when it gets to 200 C. When the kaboomer empties all the fluid and the fluid it gets cooler on the inside of the kaboomer, then that switch opens up again and the pump shuts off, and then the sun keeps heating up the liquid. The problem we had with these switches was they weren't sealed. So if you have this switch in an application that involves a harsh environment, for example, brake fluid at high temperature, it's pretty nasty stuff. It's nasty stuff at room temperature. So when it gets heated up, it becomes quite corrosive and can penetrate into the switch, causing the switch to fail. So what we did was when we started working with the switches, we coated them with different types of encapsulants. We tried silicone, and we most recently tried a ceramic-based epoxy, a high-temperature epoxy. Well, the silicone failed because the silicone rubber basically expanded and allowed the fluid to seep in and then get into the switch, and that was the end of the switch. The same thing, pretty much, I assume the same thing has happened with our recent test that we just did a couple of weeks ago with the epoxy encapsulated switch. I believe we had the same problem, but the problem wasn't so much the epoxy expanding and allowing fluid to get into the switch. What happened was, I'm predicting that the switch just got the epoxy got eaten away by the fluid within the kaboomer, because it's a harsh environment. So getting to what the solution is, after these two tests, I contacted the supplier of the switch and told him what happened. And he said, well, you encapsulated. I go, yeah, I've tried all that. And he said, well, maybe you're going to have to consider using one of our hermetically sealed switches. And I thought to myself, if you had a hermetically sealed switch a year ago when we started working with these switches, why didn't you tell me about it? I was a little bit upset that he never informed us about these switches. So it turns out it would be a custom-made switch, which would take a long time to make. So I Googled it, of course, tried to find hermetically sealed snap switches, and I found a manufacturer in New Jersey that makes a snap switch that closes at 200 Celsius, and then it'll open at 150 Celsius, and it's hermetically sealed using stainless steel. So stainless steel, I know, brake fluid or any harsh, it's one of the best materials in a harsh environment. So I believe we've got the key, or the last piece of our puzzle for the switch, is this hermetically sealed stainless steel snap switch. That should solve the problem.
Super exciting. So, yeah, just for all you lay people out there like me, we found out on our first hangout that we did, where we played the test video, that hermetically sealed is like chocolate dipped, except with stainless steel. So, getting back to our topic for tonight, that's a good little update on where things are going. But getting back to our topic on patents, I thought that it would be valuable to discuss what exactly the protection that the patents provide. So when somebody comes and tries to bring to the marketplace something that is, oh my goodness, Larry, you got to mute when you're doing that. But anyway, so I thought it would be valuable to talk about the process of what that protection is from patents. So if somebody were to come along and say they have a product that infringes on your intellectual property, and you have patents in place, what does that look like, and where does that legal protection that you pay for come in when somebody is basically, like they say, stealing your idea?
Well, what happens is that you're protected. If you have a patent and somebody produces a product which is the same as your product, you have the right to sue them. That's what a patent provides you with. So, say a company was to use the technology and start manufacturing our product that we have protected by a patent, they could do it in secret for a long time, but it's just eventually a company finds out when somebody's infringing on their patent, and then that company has the right to collect any revenues that were collected by the sale of your product that was manufactured by them. The company that owns the patent has the right to collect all that money.
So, and then you talked about earlier about how China, people say that China doesn't operate on the patent system. What did you learn about that?
Well, I've been told that China doesn't honor patents. I'm not sure how accurate a statement that is. I discussed it with our patent agent, and he didn't find it a big issue because, for example, if somehow someone in China got hold of the technology or just basically learned how to do it, they could manufacture it and sell it in China. I'm not sure if whether you can protect technology in China from the western part of the world or from North America. I haven't really looked a lot into that. With the patent process itself, though, if China or another country that you did not have a patent in, or if you didn't apply for a patent in that country, and they wanted to manufacture your product and then sell it in a country where you held the patent, you would still be able to collect the money that they sell, any money that they earn from the sale of your product in that country.
So basically, China could build our solar heat collector in China, sell it in China, but as soon as they packaged it and brought it to North America and tried to sell it in our marketplace, we would be able to take them to court and sue them and collect any profits that they made from such transactions. Is that basically what you're getting at?
Pretty much, I think that's it in a nutshell, as the way the patent agent, our patent agent explained it to me. However, like I said, I'm not sure what the rules are when applying for an international patent in China. Like I said, I've been told that I wasn't told by the patent agent this, but I've been told by certain people in business that China doesn't honor patents.
So moving forward with our patents that we have pending in North America, what countries have you thought would be the most beneficial to continue with the patenting process, and then what has our agent said about the cost and the process that we'll have to go through in order to follow through with that?
Well, I think internationally to patent, what they used to have years ago an international patent which covered the entire globe, but I don't know why they've done away with that, and now they have a PCT patent, which is essentially the same thing. So you can patent globally, and you pretty much want to patent in every country where you think your technology is going to be used. And being that it's a solar technology, you've got to look at where solar panels are sold. There's a lot of solar panels being sold in the European Union, Pretty much globally now, there's a lot of people going with solar power to supplement their power needs.
So, and then I just wanted to point out for some people that may not be quite aware about what we're talking about, there will be a link to our website that you can get information in the description of this Hangout once the recording is up. And so you can look at the website. But I don't know if this is actually on the website, but I do like to point out to people when I talk to them in person, what will make our technology beneficial and more valuable than the solar panels that we're all used to, the flat black cells that are up on roofs and whatnot in the marketplace now, is that first of all, we've strived really hard to make our product less expensive. When we purchased solar panels ourselves, they were kind of pricey, and for your average person that's wanting to be off grid, it just seems a little inaccessible as far as the price points. So we've worked really hard to make it less expensive. And the second benefit of what we're doing with our disruptive technology compared to standard photovoltaics is that once the heated up fluid is pumped through the generator, you can repurpose that heat for heating water. It can be run through a heat exchanger for air conditioning, and then you can store that heat in like an insulated tank. Depending on what your energy requirements are, that tank could be scaled to any size that you would require. And so that heated fluid could be stored so that during cloudy periods and at nighttime, you could continue to pump the heated fluid through the generators and make electricity potentially 24/7. So none of the other solar technologies that we've looked at out there really have that both of those benefits. We've seen, I got to go to Phoenix, Arizona and tour one of their solar power plants, which was using the molten salt, which they actually, during daylight hours, were creating so much heat and melting the salt in the desert of Arizona to the point that at nighttime they had enough heat built up that they could continue to make electricity like 24 hours a day in using the salt that they heated up during daytime. However, that technology was far, far more expensive than what we're working with. So it's kind of with business in any product, any sector, any area, any type of disruptive technology that you might have, or any idea that you might have, it's a very simple matter of if you can make your product either more efficient or less expensive, you pretty much win in the marketplace. Another thing I'll throw in there is cooler. If your product's cooler than your competition, then if people like it better, then yeah, that's basically the formula for success in any business. And so, did you have anything else to add about patents? Because it's really not my area of expertise. However, as usual, I am always marveling at how smart I am for partnering with someone like you, Larry, that has all this experience from your past business ventures to bring to the table, and the specialized knowledge that I am lacking in order to continue to move this business and disruptive technology forward. So what else do people out there need to know about patents?
Well, thanks for the compliment. I think just anyone who's got a unique idea that is technology based, they should always consider, if they know that it's not available on the internet, it's a super good idea to write down a description and maybe include a picture of your prototype and just mail it in a registered mail to yourself. That's your best starting point.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before in the past, and someone somewhere I heard refer to it as the poor man's patent. But I do want to point out that it's very important that it goes through registered mail that has that date stamped and that you don't open it. So it's mailed to yourself and it's sealed, and how you would use that to protect yourself in the situation where someone was stealing your idea, that
Right.
you would bring the sealed envelope that was sent registered mail that had the post office stamp on it into a court scenario, and the judge would
Yeah.
open it and it would prove that you had the idea prior to this person selling it. And I get that provides a similar protection as actual patent pending status, does it, Larry?
Pretty much. I haven't heard of a lot of cases where people have not done that, and somebody comes out with something new. If they don't have that registered package in their possession, it's going to be really hard to prove in court that they came up with the technology first. So it's quite important to I believe it's very important to have that, and it's the beginning of the patenting process. You have to do it.
Okay. Yeah, and definitely for us when we were starting out, we didn't have a lot of resources, and the whole patenting process, I think it's more than $20,000 that has gone out to this agent in the past I guess about three years now. So it is quite an expensive endeavor, and definitely what you're talking about is a simple, inexpensive solution until you can get to a point where you can have the investment that you need or be able to raise the capital, whichever way that you're able to do that in order to actually hire an expert to more solidify the process. Because I think that a big part, besides the protection, which you can get from that simple act of mailing a registered letter, besides that, I think a lot of the benefit of the patents, besides the protection, is that it gets other companies and other business people to take you seriously, because you're kind of putting your money where your mouth is and saying that we believe in our technology and our idea so much that we've actually invested in experts to help us protect it. And when you can bring to the table that you have actual patents filed at the office, at these government offices where patents are managed, it looks really, really good to investors, to potential partners, to manufacturers, to any of the business connections that you make as you're growing your disruptive technology business. It just, I find that it gives you kind of a little bit of a prestige almost, that people, oh wow, you have patents filed? Oh, okay, you guys are serious. We're going to pay a little bit more attention to what you're saying and listen to some of your ideas and take it a little bit more seriously, because it shows that you're taking it seriously. The registered letter, yes, it would hold water in court, but if you were to try and show that letter to some investors, I don't really think that they would take that very seriously. Is that how you feel also about patents as far as their value, Larry?
Yeah. Well, I think everybody in business would agree having a patent in your company's possession is more powerful than anything in the business. When you look at the marketing side, that's a whole different story to market the technology, as you know. Inventors can become quite proud of what they invented, but if nobody wants to buy the product, they're kind of stuck.
Yeah, and definitely it can be a hard sell, because our whole society is kind of programmed to resist change, and there's this whole don't rock the boat, don't stir the pot, and you're kind of viewed as a troublemaker when you are bringing a better product to the market. A lot of people don't view it as better until it's proven, and until infrastructure exists and it becomes established. So the patents do help to let people get warm up to the idea of change a little bit better than if you're just say, hey, I got a great idea, and you don't have any kind of paperwork to back it up, I guess. I don't know. So there's a lot of people out there in the world that they really, really love to see paper with details and facts and be able to analyze things and say, oh, okay, yeah, this can work. Whereas you can tell them all day that it works, but until they see it on paper, they're not going to really buy into it. So I don't really think that I have anything else to add about patents. I just want to thank our guest, Pan, for joining us. And did you have anything to add or any questions?
No, no. No, thanks.
No? Okay, well, thank you for joining us. And please feel free to come and join us again. And you can click the link below this video and go to our website and contact us if you ever have any questions, or if you know other people that are interested in these kind of ideas about solar power and stuff, or if they have their own technology or their own ideas for starting a business, they're welcome to join us, and we'd love to share our insight and experience and answer any questions that you or any of your friends might have. We're really excited about bringing our technology to the market in India. I think, Larry, didn't we have a contact that we met in Germany and India for a business or something that was interested in using the technology? Do you remember who that was?
No, off the top of my head, I know there were a couple of guys that came to our booth, and I remember they were from India, and they were very excited about seeing our machine work when we were in Germany. However, as you remember, we had problems with customs breaking some of our components, so we weren't able to demonstrate it the way it was supposed to be demonstrated for them.
Well, we'll have to continue to look into reconnecting with some of the people that showed a lot of interest in Germany and in Texas, and maybe getting them here so that they can get updated on what we're doing right now. And just super exciting to be a part of what we're doing. And I think that a lot of the information that you just shared here is super, super valuable to people like me who really don't know anything about patents. So I think that this hangout is it's going to be up there on the internet forever, and I think that at some point someone will stumble across it and find it very helpful, because it's information that most people just don't consider. They have these ideas, and then they realize that, well, it costs a bunch of money and it's so difficult. But when you put it so simply that you can get started by simply writing a letter to yourself with your idea and sending it registered mail, and that will actually protect you while you grow your idea into actual reality, from taking it from your mind to actually being a product. And so it's super useful, especially to people all over the world that maybe don't have the same kind of access to resources that we're blessed to have here in North America, that in other parts of the world they can still send this registered letter and have some protection for their ideas. And so they can not be so quick to see the limitation and instead see the opportunity that can come from a simple idea. So I think I'll leave it there, and we'll wrap it up. And thank you, everybody, so much for watching. And if I don't see you, tune in again and invite your friends. And if I don't see you in the future, I will see you out in the pasture, because that's where I'll be. Anything else, Larry or Tapan?
No.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye, everybody. Say bye, William.
Bye.
See ya.